genre.
In the world of Hollywood, movies get greenlit and redlit. They get remade and rebooted. But we are the ideal. I'm Sam Gasch, and you are listening to Ideal Remake. Thank you for listening to Ideal Remake. We take movies that either have been, will be, or should be remade and talk about what the ideal version of that remake would be. In the far-off, futuristic year of 2018, countries and governments no longer exist. Corporations now rule the land. And to keep the peace and give the people an outlet, they created the brutal game, Rollerball. Lee Luna, is Rollerball a movie that has been, will be, or should be remade?
Yes.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Yeah. Lee, welcome!
Thanks, Sam! I'm excited to finally do this.
Yeah, and I was so tempted to be like, is Rollersball or Rollerballs a movies that have been, will be, or should be remade? Because they're so different.
They're so different.
They're so different.
And they're both okay at best.
They're both okay at best, and I feel like the real argument is which is better, which is worse, because neither is good.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is interesting.
Lee, welcome to Ideal Remake.
Yay!
For anyone listening who doesn't immediately recognize your voice, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Lee Luna. I am a cartoonist who works in publishing and also animation, and sometimes I'm a funny guy.
And you have a wonderful children's book called
Clementine Fox. The first one came out in 2023, and that's Clementine Fox and the Great Island Adventure, and Clementine Fox and I believe we landed on The Cave Treasure Quest will be coming out in 2027.
That's extremely exciting. And if you have young kids and want an amazing book for them to read, Clementine Fox is a fantastic choice.
Thank you. It is nothing like Rollerball.
It is only barely similar to Rollerball in the sense that at some point someone references a game.
That's true. Yes, that's true. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's the best I got for you.
Yeah.
So Rollerball.
Yeah.
Do you remember how you first saw this movie? Because this is a last-minute choice.
It was a last-minute choice. Sam and I had been talking about doing Battle Royale, and after stewing on what my remake for that would be for way too long, I was like, I don't know if Battle Royale needs another remake. It has a million remakes.
Yeah.
Whereas one of my favorite stupid movies, Rollerball, has not had enough love from anyone, and therefore we should remake it. It came out, the first one that I saw was the 2002 one.
Oh, interesting.
And I don't remember exactly when I saw it, but I know I was in middle school, so it probably would have been 2006-ish, several years after it came out.
It's also got to be something where, I'm sure you saw it on TV. I can't believe the TV rights for it were particularly expensive.
Probably not. Yeah. We probably rented it because my parents are not big believers in television.
Oh, fair enough.
So we didn't have cable or anything. So the amount of just movies being on in my household, from a TV streaming point of view, was pretty minimal.
Yeah, and it had the sort of cover where I looked at it where I was like, I don't think I've ever seen this before, but I don't think it's new to me in that I'm pretty sure walking through a Blockbuster at some point I did see this.
Yeah.
It's that kind of vibe of, oh, Blockbuster got 5 copies each? No way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like that kind of movie.
Yeah, I feel like we probably rented it. My dad is really into movies that are action and sports cars, not sports, cars. Dad's really into car movies, so
interesting. Okay.
I feel like we maybe saw it and we're like, that looks like a Fast and Furious film, and then it is only kind of a Fast and Furious film.
Which is interesting because when we sat down, my instant thought was, oh, we're obviously remaking the 1975 version. I did this whole recasting before seeing the 2002 version.
That's great, though.
I'm ready for 1975.
Yeah.
My pitch is for 1975.
Awesome.
But, I had time on Thursday before the pipes in my apartment exploded and I had to deal with that. Actually, the pipe's not in my apartment. Whatever. But before I was like, I should see what 2002's all about. What's that? It's a half hour shorter? Cool.
Really a great choice.
Amazing. It's a half hour shorter and there's more Rollerball. Wild. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah. It's So, I mean, I had told you to watch the 1975 one and was not planning on having you watch the 2002 one, and then you were texting me on Thursday about, like, why is there a night vision scene? And I was like...
There's a lot of night vision.
I don't have a good answer for you, but isn't it great? Doesn't it feel like you're in Ghost Adventures Rollerball Drift?
And I don't understand, because it's crazy. It's like, it's this whole thing that's happening at night. I'm like, I guess these are the only scenes that happen at night, and they're not.
No, not at all.
Literally, the scene immediately following our Jonathan Cletus, as opposed to Jonathan E., gets on the plane after they've killed his friend. They get on the plane and fly away, and the next scene is a shot of the plane in perfect color, no problem, whatever. It is a choice.
Yeah, it's a creative decision.
So here's how I would describe the two movies. 1975 is a heroine movie. Very slow, very methodical, just feeling the groove, seeing where we go. 2002 is cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes, it doesn't stop. I've got a crazy idea. We're going to keep doing that crazy idea.
Yeah. They're very different. I love them both in different ways. And I find the 1975 one is really interesting because it's directed by Norman Jewison, I think is how you say his name.
Something like that.
Might be Norman Jewison, but apparently he saw Clockwork Orange and was like, I'm gonna make my Clockwork Orange. And somehow Rollerball 1975 is what came out of him seeing a Clockwork Orange, which is a buck wild thing to say.
That is crazy.
No, it's literally crazy. So that's that. And then at some point, John McTierney in the early 2000s, or I guess late 90s probably, because it came out in 2002, decided that he wanted to remake it for a 2002 audience, but it is arguably his worst film.
Yeah, because like you look at some of his other movies and you're like, all right, some of these aren't so bad. I don't, like, okay, man, if that's what you wanted to do, I guess we'll give it a shot. I guess.
Yeah. I'm a little fuzzy on like why he wanted to make that film, but I know that the 2002 one took a couple of years to like finally come out. Like I think it was something like 4 years where there was a ton of heavy-handed editing from like executives and like a lot. They like did a test screener for it in Vegas, and I think it had more of a we're against capitalism and less of a like we're having a fun sports time.
Well, the against capitalism thing is like one of the big proponents of the first movie.
Yeah, and that is the entirety of the first movie.
Yeah, that's kind of why I think the first movie's better. Like, I think my opinion has become that I think of the two of them, I prefer the first one. The first one's about 45 minutes too long.
Agreed.
But like, it certainly has something to say, and I don't think it says it especially well, but it has something to say.
Yes.
As opposed to, yeah, let's fucking go!
Let's go rollerball!
Oh!
With like, oh, and also capitalism bad though.
Yeah.
Very secondary.
And also, like, the 2002 version is like, yeah, we're making a movie for guys. We're going to show boobs everywhere. As opposed to the first one where there are no boobs, but there is schlong.
Is there schlong?
There's sides of... it's a bunch of dudes naked in the shower.
Wow. In my notes of, like, what will be in our remake of this, it's like, my notes literally say, if we're going to show boobs, we're going to show peen.
And I think that's correct. I feel like that's the rule that we as a society have come to.
Yes, in this post-Game of Thrones universe that we live in 2026.
Oh, I was thinking post-Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, but yeah, that's fun.
Wonderful. Yeah. But yeah, I guess when they did this, like, test screening in 2002, the audience was very much like, we don't want to see a movie that's, like, anti-capitalist. Like, we want to see...
It is also
ball go roll.
2002. We're a pro-America. We're gonna send our freedom to all the bad people kind of mentality.
But are we? Yeah.
Yeah. And that certainly has changed.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean, I will say that both films do seem to kind of as a collective pretty well predict where we are.
Yes.
Now.
Yes. Which is gonna be fun for what I want to do. But we should probably talk about, like, what the movies actually are.
Yeah, we should
feel like,
go over some plots.
I feel like at this point, because we've now referenced both movies, we should do a real quick rundown of both plots.
Agreed.
So I guess we'll start with 1975, which starts with a long, slow production of them setting up and then playing this entire rollerball game.
To the Dracula music.
And then what was the music it ended on? It also ended on Dracula music.
It like opens on a roller derby floor and just dee-dee-dee, and it's very strange.
It's so weird. The music choices in the movie are incomprehensible.
True.
But like, and then it stops to play the corporate, not a national anthem, but a corporate anthem.
The corporate anthem.
There's no words. And so it's literally for like 2 minutes, we're standing there watching people listen to music, trying to decide if their character would put their hand on their heart.
Yep.
And it's just this, it's the indicative of the movie we're going to be getting to, because like, we're just sitting there, I'm chatting with like Caitlin and Zach, and we're just like, well, there's no dialogue for us to be talking. What is happening? And so then we watch the Rollerball game, and that is the first of 3 total Rollerball games in the entirety of this 2-hour movie. And basically what we learn is that Jonathan E. is the greatest rollerballer who's ever lived. He's been playing for 10 years, which is way longer than anybody. He has the craziest stats of anyone who's ever played the game. Truly, he is the Michael Jordan of Rollerball.
Yes, and I feel like they don't drive this point home as much in the 1975 one, but the reason that his career does have so much longevity at 10 years is because most people in this game die.
Yes. Most people have been killed playing the game by the time they get to 10 years. Like, they even talk about his statistics, and they talk about the number of people he's killed while playing the game.
Yes.
And for a movie that has some blood, but not that much.
Really not a lot, which I find interesting for a 1975 film as well, because it isn't like we didn't have pretty brutal war movies at that point.
That was the crazy thing to me, is the movie felt European for that reason, in that it was a lot more comfortable with sexuality than it was with violence.
Yeah.
And for a movie that was about violence, that felt strange.
Yeah.
2002 feels American, but
100%.
Absolutely. And so basically we've reached a point where we established that the world is, there are no governments, there are no countries. The world has kind of been divided and taken over by massive corporations. And Jonathan plays, I think, for the Energy Corporation.
He does, but he also, I do find it interesting because doesn't he play for Houston?
He plays in the city of Houston, which is owned by Energy Corporation.
Yeah, I found it interesting that they still included, like, we're playing the Madrid team, we're playing the Houston team, we're playing the Tokyo team, because we are pushing this dystopian future where, like, there are not countries.
There's no countries,
anymore?
but there's cities. So, like, it kind of makes sense to me. It's like, oh, instead of Houston being owned by, like, the state of Texas, the country of the United States, instead it is owned by Energy, which for Texas, that makes sense.
It does. Yeah, it would be big oil.
Yeah, 100%. And so basically, like, what we're finding out is that the CEO of Energy, and we never get to see, like, the board or what. Oh, no, we do. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Bartholomew is letting Jonathan E. know that, like, they've kind of decided it's time for you to retire. And then we spend the rest of the movie with the plot being like, everyone wants Jonathan to retire because no one should be able to play the game for this long. And to, like, they're scared of you, Jonathan. And I'm like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
And they never really specify why. But they basically reach a point where he either needs to retire or die in the ring or lose. Because I think they're trying to, like, he has this hero status and they want to, like, take that away from him, where he needs to either become washed up or he needs to fall. And then neither of those things happen.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting because there is this scene with the executives and they're in this locker room and it's like the first time that they allude to, like, hey, we need you to retire. And this executive is giving this talk to the team that would never happen, where the executive point blank says something to the effect of, like, executives want to be the artists and athletes. Like, we're just, like, up here being our suits, being, like, your overlords, but we want to be you guys, which, like, having worked in film now for 10 years, like, no one has ever admitted that.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think it's the sort of thing, and that's why all the executives are pushing the random AI garbage slop, so they can cosplay as artists when they simply are not.
This is true.
And all of the stupid, rich, billionaire assholes are like, yo, yeah, I'm the most machoist man who's ever machoed. And despite the fact that they're obviously not. They're cosplaying as the artists and the athletes and the people who actually do things, as opposed to just being the brokers of money. Pretend that they actually contribute to society instead of just being the, like, gatekeepers preventing anyone from actually living a life. I think it was a pretty accurate thing of, like, well, if I own athletes, it's like I myself am an athlete.
Yeah, fair enough that.
So yeah, that was kind of the impression that I got. And so basically the movie is them trying to force Jonathan to retire. He refuses to retire, and kind of the world closing in on him as the rules of Rollerball change, making it harder for him to play / survive, which felt to me, and this is a real specific reference, it felt like the tournament arc in Yu Yu Hakusho.
Okay.
Which, have you seen?
No.
Yu Yu Hakusho Spirit Detective it's one of the first and therefore and best tournament arcs in a manga / anime. And basically all of these demon teams are owned by very, very rich people. And the rich people bribe the rules committee and the referees and the judges to change the rules to like suit their team better. So whoever kind of is richest is able to kind of manipulate the tournament and help their team the most.
Not unlike the World Cup that we just had. Yeah.
Not unlike the World Cup where we just had. I guess we're happy for Spain.
We are happy for Spain. We are pleased Argentina did not win.
Correct. That it basically, it's like, we are happy for Spain. We're mostly we don't care who wins. We just care that they lose.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
We can like get into it more later, but I have notes in relation to our corporate executive overlord, where in our remake, I do feel like he must be the little Eggman that owns FIFA, he doesn't own FIFA, he's the president of FIFA, but he is currently trying to move to own FIFA so that he does not have to retire, and it is some real...
It's some real bullshit.
Shit. Yeah.
And like there's the whole thing where FIFA is trying to sell, and so like all of the European Union is like, if you do that, we will no longer play. Yep. And it's like, we'll see. Yeah,
well, the European Union has said they won't play. CONCACAF, which is Mexico, North America, Canada, says that they will also not play. And now the Asian teams have also come out to say that they won't play. And that's
Great.
not like, yeah, and that's the entirety of Asia. So including like, Iran, Iraq, everyone in the Middle East, a chunk of the world as well. So now we're just looking at Africa and South America to be like, all right, and you guys...
We'll see.
We'll see. We will see. And it's I don't know. It's an interesting...
It's an interesting...
place to be, because
it's interesting where people are starting to draw lines.
Yeah.
Which again, we'll get to when we do our remake. But basically, like, that's kind of the premise of the movie, is Jonathan E. kind of starts tracking down why they'd be scared of him, what's going on. He tries to read a book, but everything in the libraries have been digitized and there's no books left. So he goes to Geneva, where they have, like, kind of the records of all the books, and what they actually have is just a giant supercomputer, and it's not... And it turns out water is the best thing to have a supercomputer on. So they're like, hey, here's this cool supercomputer. Anyway, let's go to the next scene. And we don't get anything from the supercomputer.
We really don't. It feels insanely out of left field and out of place within the film.
The problem is that everyone's performance in the 1975 version is so muted and bland, except for that scientist. He's the only one who's giving us an actual character, and without exception, favorite character in the movie. He was just weird, and I loved him. But, like, everyone is just so generic. And, like, literally they're even at a party, and, like, it's some random party where the executives and the athletes are all hanging out, and, like, oh, aren't we cool together? And like, the gender dynamics in this entire world are fucked. To the point where it's like, when you're bored with your current assigned partner, they get swapped out, and it's just, like, on one hand, that's kind of a great idea of, like, hey... No one's forced to stay in a relationship they don't necessarily want to stay in. All that needs to happen is one person say they're ready to move on, and moving on happens.
Yeah.
On paper, it's a nice idea.
I guess.
In practice, Jonathan E. was like, yeah, you took my wife from me.
You took my wife from me. Yeah, it is. So it's established, I don't know, early-ish in the film. Like, Jonathan goes home from a practice and he sees his girlfriend at the time, Mackie. And this is right after he's been told that he should retire. And Mackie is like, hey, I got this letter from corporate. They're making me switch. And Jonathan's kind of like, okay, I don't care. And she's like, but we've been together for 6 months. Don't you care about me? And he's just kind of like, no.
No, he says, he goes, why don't you go inside and make us dinner? That'll make you feel better.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, and that part of it is like...
And then he goes and hangs out with his best buddy Cletus. His best friend Cletus in the entire world. He just is so happy to see Cletus. Oh, look at Cletus. Cletus, you mean everything to me. I mean, whatever. No homo.
Yeah. And I don't remember, is it the name of his, what's the name of his new girlfriend? Is it Phoebe?
It's Daphne.
Daphne.
Daphne's clearly a corporate plant.
Yeah, Daphne is clearly a corporate plant. She's, like, very beautiful, but she's clearly, like, very much reporting back to corporate. And, like, the reason why I bring up the party is because one of the, like, random conversations they walk by is, like, someone going, I hear that all the rollerball players are robots, and that's how they're so good at it. And then, like, again, that never gets addressed, because that's something we really hooked onto for the rest of the movie. But
basically all of this back and forth happens, and then so Jonathan E has been saying, I will not retire until we at least get past the game with Tokyo, because Tokyo is going to be a brutal game and I need to at least take care of my team. I'm kind of the one protecting them and making sure they don't all die. Because as someone who's been playing this game for 10 years, he's probably watched everyone on his team die. In fact, his best friend, Moon Pie, who's an awful human being and who we cheer his death, he dies in the movie. He gets taken out by Japan, or Tokyo, I guess. But, like, he'd only been playing the game for 6 months, maybe a year.
I don't remember, but yeah, that sounds right.
It was really short. And so it was like, oh, no wonder Jonathan E. wants to stick around. Is like, he's trying to make it so that people don't die around him. Because he knows as soon as he's gone, his team is just going to get completely taken out. And that's brutal.
It is brutal.
So then his team gets entirely taken out in the Tokyo game, and he's the one survivor.
Yep. Also, though, Moon Pie... Okay, am I wrong in thinking Moon Pie's gets very lightly jabbed to the back of the head by one of the Tokyo players and drops dead after a previous scene in which he very, like, adamantly will not listen to the coaches as they talk about Japan's tactics.
So, yes, but no. Because Moon Pie gets taken out in the second game. Because he is in a coma, and
that's
and Jonathan E. refuses to take him off life support.
And that's why Jonathan goes to Geneva, right? Is to, like, look for the cure for him.
He was trying to find out why people would want him to not play rollerball, and he never got an answer. Because the first time he went to the library, Moon Pie was with him.
Right, when he goes to the local library, not the big Geneva library. Okay.
And so Moon Pie gets taken out in game 2. Where he, like, gets grabbed on either side and someone comes up and, like, punches him in the back of the head, and then he's brain dead. And then the doctor's like, well, he doesn't have any family or friends. It's just you, Jonathan E., team captain. I need you to sign so we can take him off life support. And Jonathan E. refuses to sign and instead takes Moon Pie away and creates, like, a whole special place so that Moon Pie can be happy and pleasant and stare out into some greenery or whatever, but he's brain dead.
Yes.
Sure.
That's so funny. I really remembered him going to Geneva to consult the supercomputer because I really thought he was trying to save his boy Moon Pie, not trying to figure out why he's not allowed to play rollerball.
It can be both things.
I think in our remake, maybe we're trying to save Moon Pie.
We might be saving Moon Pie, but his best friend in the world, Moon Pie, second only to Cletus. Right, and he has a wife. Shit, sorry.
Oh my god. Okay, so this is where in the 1975 one, I'm like, you have lost me.
Yeah.
Is like, Jonathan going back home, wherever that is, and at this point, like, Bartholomew once again is like, dude, you gotta quit, and he's like, I would like to leverage that, and he's like, bring me back my wife, Ella, and they're like, oh, it'd be kind of complicated. She's, like, married to someone else and, like, has a child, but then they do, in fact,
bring her back.
Scoop Ella out of her fucking life and, like, bring her back to Jonathan, and then they talk for 17 minutes of this film in the rain. It is so unnecessary. They go so heavy-handed
and forth in 4 different scenes. It's bad. And, like, fundamentally, it's all Ella trying to convince Jonathan to retire, fundamentally. And, like, who they are, what they mean to each other, and all of that. Keep in mind, throughout the entire beginning of the movie, Jonathan has been watching old videos of himself and Ella, with Mackie in the room, with Daphne in the room, further establishing he does not care about them at all. He only cares about Ella. Which, okay, but then as soon as Ella's like, you should retire, he deletes the video.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's a big old man baby.
He is a big old man baby. But also, am I wrong in thinking we don't learn about who Ella is until he is like, bring me my wife back? Like, we see her in these videos, but we don't know who she is.
Until she comes back and says, yeah, I'm married. I've got a couple of kids. We have this farm in Europe. We do this thing, the other thing.
Yeah.
She talks about the life, which presumably she likes. I don't also completely understand why. I think bringing Ella back is kind of their last-ditch effort of like, okay, here's Ella. You said you'd retire after Ella came back. And then he doesn't retire. And so then they change the rules so that there are no penalties, no fouls, no switches. If you're in the rollerball game, you're in the rollerball game. People are going to die. Here's the game of Tokyo. Oh my god, Jonathan E. did it. He's the last survivor. Literally everyone's dead. It's a rollerball arena full of dead people. And he picks up the ball, puts it in the goal, oh my god, the crowd is chanting his name, end of movie.
Yeah, and then he literally skates into the camera.
He skates into the camera.
Slash sunset, whatever. It is the most unsatisfying ending.
We don't have a conclusion.
No.
We don't know what's going to happen. Nothing.
He doesn't die. He also doesn't kill the executive. Yeah, it's very... In my mind, I was like, okay, I thought he was going to score the goal, be like looking at Bartholomew, and then get like sniped.
So they kind of hinted at the movie that Bartholomew's like, boy, the board's not happy with him because Bartholomew's not getting things done. And it's like, okay, sure, I guess. There are no consequences for rich people, which I think is relevant to the point of the movie.
Truth.
But yeah, it's a somewhat unsatisfying movie, as opposed to the 2002 version, which is all catharsis. And again, we're remaking the 1975 version, but basically the 2002 version starts with Jonathan Cross doing a skeleton race down the streets of San Francisco.
Yes, on a longboard.
And it's also ostensibly set in the present.
Yes.
Because in the 1975 version, Rollerball is set up and exists and is an existing thing. It's not the existing thing, like the only one.
Yeah.
And then the 2002 version is about this Asian European rollerball thing that is starting to get off the ground. And the whole thing about our rich guy in the 2002 version is that he's trying to sell the cable rights. And he needs Jonathan to not screw things up so that he can sell the cable rights. That's the goal. The 2002 version could very easily have been a prequel. If they hadn't completely blown everything up at the end of the movie.
Wow, I had not considered that, but yeah, there's things about the 2002 movie that I like enough that I would consider keeping them as momentary plot things to recreate our 1975
There's certainly
version.
a lot more Rollerball.
There is certainly a lot more Rollerball. I don't think that we need the skeleton luge longboard scene.
No, I don't think we need the entire intro to the movie where LL Cool J shows up and says, you can make so much money doing this thing.
It's so fucking funny though, because Jonathan is on this longboard going down the streets of what appears to be San Francisco because there's crazy hills.
Right.
The cops are chasing him, and then LL Cool J just shows up in his Porsche next to this longboard and opens the door somehow, and Jonathan grabs the seat belt and pulls himself into the Porsche and they get away, and it is so dumb.
And then he can't go home because cops are surrounding his house.
Can't go home.
So he only has one outlet left to him. He
has
to go
Kazakhstan, I think.
Yeah. And LL Cool J talks about how they love pretty boy Americans over there.
Yeah, whatever.
And because we eventually established that LL Cool J and that Jonathan character are getting paid 100 times more than pretty much anyone else who's playing the game. And they allude to the fact in the 2002 version that people are getting killed all the time. We don't really ever see it except for once.
We see people get we see people get injured. We don't see anyone really die on the track.
Right. We only see one player die.
Yes.
And he doesn't die on the track. He gets sniped in night vision.
Oh, yes, that one.
And it's LL Cool J.
But I think the setup for the 2002 one, when they're in the first game at least that we see, I believe, of Rollerball, where Jonathan is playing, one of his teammates' helmet straps has been cut. Mm-hmm. And the inciting incident is that a player on the opposing team skates by this guy whose helmet strap has been cut and knocks it off his head, and the executives in the box watching know this is going to happen and we learn later that all the cameras had been focused on the guy whose helmet was about to be knocked off. The cameras were on him for 15 seconds prior to the actual incident happening. Yes, which meant that they knew it was about to happen. Yes, and that's, I think, done fairly well. I think that was a very good plot point. Yeah, and then also within their booth, they are watching the ratings rise as this man gets just absolutely clobbered, obliterated. His helmet gets knocked off, and then I think he gets hit in the head with the rollerball. Yeah, that is the first sight of blood, I believe, that we get. Yes. It's a it's a stylized shot a little bit, but yes, it is. You get a sense of the brutality. But it also kind of feels like the first time they do it because it's they're learning that this is effective. Mm-hmm. Which is why, again, feels like the prequel. Yeah, I don't completely know. They were playing the Golden Rollers or something. Yeah, which, I mean, okay, another thing that I would love to keep from 2002 is that everyone has the most insane costuming. Yeah. And it's awesome. Yes. There's Rebecca Romaine's character has this giant helmet that kind of makes her look like alien. And
Yeah.
there's like guys who have like these like Oni, these golden Oni masks, and like and then Jonathan, our boy Jonathan, just has like a fucking like regular kids
that he
roller skating
sometimes remembered
helmet.
to snap the bottom of his helmet on.
Yeah.
And there's a whole plot point about how he sometimes remembers to put on his spine shield
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it is. And like there's a person on the Golden Roller team who's like got a jester head with a little mobile jester that someone hits off of him.
Yeah, it's great. I love the like, that is all taken from wrestling. Like,
Of course it is.
There is so much wrestling that is, or there's so much influence from wrestling that happens in the 2002 one, to the extent that the announcer guy that we get in the 2002 movie is Paul Heyman, who is like a producer of WWE.
That makes sense.
Who is a great cast in that, in my opinion. And yeah, I don't know. I love the costuming. In the 2002 version, all the players have their numbers tattooed on their faces.
All of the, not Jonathan or LL Cool J.
No, not
And not Rebecca Romaine at the beginning either.
yeah, not our big heavy money rollers.
Right.
Our Lionel Messi's don't have their faces tattooed, but everyone else has their number tattooed on their face.
Right. Because it represents that they are now owned by the company. They have sold their lives to the company.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, it's really evocative, but then we get to the point where like Rebecca Romaine is basically being moved from one team to another, and they forcibly tattoo the number onto her face because she has no choice anymore.
Yeah. That part's not great.
Yeah, no, but like but it's evocative of, oh my god, it's a sense of ownership and terror of these corporate people, these corporate assholes don't see us as people, they see us as property.
Absolutely.
But basically, like, it's a whole back and forth of people are getting hurt. Jonathan doesn't want people to get hurt. He wants people to look into it. And in this version, it's not that they're trying to force him to retire. It's that he's asking too many questions, like, why are people getting hurt and how can we stop them from getting hurt? And that's not okay because that's going to affect the ratings. And it's just about, hey, let's just get this done. You're an amazing player. We want you to keep playing because the ratings need you. And we're trying to get this cable deal with the United States. Because once we do that, we're done and golden. It's 2002. Cable's going to last forever.
Yep. 2026 accurate.
Absolutely.
Another thing, since we've talked about Rebecca Romaine's character, Aurora, I do want to also mention, I love that in the 2002 remake, that Rollerball is mixed gender.
Yes.
Like the 1975 one, it's all, you know, the beefiest men you've ever seen. But I love that in the 2002 one, it is mixed gender. Like, we so rarely across any media see mixed gender sports. Like, they're not really a thing even yet happening in 2026.
No, it's still a big deal when there's occasionally a female baseball player.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that, like, yeah, it's fine. Who cares?
I think like the only sports that I can think of that like really do mixed gender are like ice skating and like volleyball.
Maybe? Because there's still beach volleyball, which I think is still gendered. And the like ice skating is still like the women are competing against the women, the men are competing against the men. And it's the same kind of thing, but I do think it is segmented by gender.
Yeah, it is. So
in like gymnastics in the same sort of way.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess for ice skating, what I was thinking was like partner stuff, but which is also still very, I don't know, heteronormative.
Yeah, absolutely.
Viewpoint.
100%.
Even though we got dudes in spandex. Anyway.
We're going to break that for this because I also gender swapped some characters, and some of them, for example, one of the characters I gender swapped is Daphne.
Great.
I gender swapped Daphne, I gender swapped Moon Pie. Mix it all up.
Yeah.
Cool.
Love it.
But yeah, so basically like, eventually in the 2002 version, Jonathan and LL Cool J, who has a name, don't remember, make a run for it because they know that, okay, now it's a threat, they need to make a break for it. And then the movie goes into like night vision, green imaging, and they make a break for it. They almost make it to the border. They get run off the road. There's only enough space on the motorcycle for one of them, LL Cool J. Jonathan tells him to go. He's got kids and a wife, despite the fact that he's been like hooking up with random models this whole time. Whatever. It's 2000.
We don't know their dynamic.
It's true. We don't know their dynamic.
But we can probably assume that it's not.
We can
awesome.
suppose based on the content of the movie. But you're correct. We don't know their dynamic. But either way, LL Cool J makes this incredible jump over the bridge, and he's almost at the border, and then just a sniper takes him out.
Yeah. It sucks.
It sucks. And then they capture Jonathan, put him on a plane, and they're like, anyway, so you're going to keep playing, right? And he's like in the shock from losing his best friend. And like the main bad guy CEO is like completely like doesn't even care about that. He's just like, you're going to continue to play for my team because we're going to make this cable deal. And that's how this is going to go. And Jonathan's like, but what if I don't? And they're like, oh, fine, we'll kill your girlfriend then. What do you want? So Jonathan's like, I will play for you, but you got to trade the girlfriend away. And so they end up trading her to the team that they're playing against. Fine. And it's this big showdown, like violence, everything's happening. And then they end up figuring out, like they break out. Jonathan tracks down the CEO. The CEO's assistant, who's kind of been a little shit the whole time, sneaks away. And he stole the keys to the CEO's gun cabinet. And so Jonathan kills the CEO, and then the little assistant's like, yeah, but I got the keys. Now you got to make a deal with me. And Jonathan's like, why? And then kills him too. And it's like, oh yeah, dummy. Yeah. And then, yeah, we did it. We broke capitalism. We're going to be heroes forever. End of movie.
Yes. Yeah, that is basically how it goes. There is a extremely B plot of this entire film, is that there are these miners.
Yeah.
And we don't really ever meet them, but they are there to show the everyman, and they're usually who is filling the audience of these like implied like uneducated everyday people who are like obsessed with this game, and they're relatively unimportant. There's a plot where our evil CEO guy like takes Jonathan to these mines and is like, look at these mines. They don't know who I am. They know who this guy is, and I own him, and I own all of them. And, like, there's that aspect of it. But I find it very funny that in the last scene of the movie, when Jonathan has, like, jumped the barricade to go after the CEO, a different player climbs up onto this, like, plexiglass ledge thingy that is supposed to protect the ring and the from the audience. He like straddles it and starts like just really spelling it out for the everyday man. Like they're like, don't you see? Like they're trying to kill us. Like they're trying to kill him. And then all these miners like rise up to be all together against this.
Two different things. That particular player who climbed the plexiglass was the person who said, oh, you're getting paid 100 times more than me.
Yes.
Because he is a former miner.
Yes.
He is someone who got pulled out of the mines to play Rollerball. And so, like, he's making money, but, like, way more money than he was making as a miner, but not nearly as much money as, like, Jonathan and LL Cool J. And he's someone who has the tattoo because he's owned by the company. And so, basically, he's like, look, I'm stuck here. These miners were my family. Like, I care about them, but, like, I have this opportunity to be entertaining for them for a little bit before I probably get killed. And so, when they're trying to kill Jonathan, he gets up. He's like, they're trying to kill Jonathan. And then someone walks out and shoots him.
Right.
Like, he just gets absolutely just murked in the stands, and that's when they rise up and start rioting, because they're his family, they're his friends, they know him, he's their guy, he's one of them. And then the CEO of the mining company walks out and is like, no, sit back down, and they start chanting, Jonathan, Jonathan, and just, like, intimidate the CEO away, and that's when they're doing their riot thing, and that's kind of what allows Jonathan to go out and kill 2002 Bartholomew, whatever his name is. Something like that.
Yes.
What are we going to do? What's our version?
Okay. Well, I feel like I have told you some of the things that I think we keep. I think like I said, I think we steal from both, mostly the 1975 one, because that is the original text, and the more...
I mean, the original text is wherever the short story was, but whatever.
Yes.
The dude wrote the short story and then wrote the movie.
Yeah. I like the concept of government being gone. It is incredibly, like, dystopian, pushing Hunger Gamesian of, like, this is the thing that keeps wars from happening, is that we have different countries, sectors, whatever, play this violent rollerball game, which is so funny and ridiculous to me, and is what, like, I guess the Olympics, to an extent, are supposed to be.
Kind of. It's also a pretty common thing in a lot of, like, dystopian style games where, like, that's kind of what the Hunger Games is. That's kind of what, like, that one season of Gundam is, where, like, it's a bunch of different people representing different countries, and it's...
Oh, yes, Tequila Gundam.
Sure, yes.
That's Mexico. He's great.
Tequila Gundam, it's the King of Hearts, it's a whole thing.
Windmill Gundam, yes.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do instead of doing wars.
Yes.
It's a corporatocracy, but on a global scale, and the world has been severed up between, like, the food corporation, the energy corporation, the different things like that.
Yeah. I don't know why we got to do this on Earth. If we're doing this in a future from 2026, like, if we're trying to project as far into the future as they were trying to do it 2018 in 1975, even though it is like very futuristic. If we're trying to do futurism, I think at this point, our countries are probably all space stations. And it's just like, this is the Disney space station. This is the Samsung space station. This is, you're making a face at the McDonald's space station.
Well, no, because I like that idea because it's very Demolition Man. But I think I wouldn't want to do that because I don't want it to be immediately obvious the kind of world that we're in. I kind of want it to be revealed to the audience as we kind of figure out how this world works. I would be more interested. Like, I don't think we should call it like the McDonald's space station because I do like the idea of it just like boiling down to, no, I'm not just McDonald's. I'm all of food. We are the corporation. Everything that anyone eats anywhere, that's what we do. We do food. We are all of the energy. We are all of this. And like in like Demolition Man, all restaurants are Taco Bell. And so it's the same kind of idea. Like, I don't need them to be the food corporation because that lacks any sense of creativity. But like, it'll be some person's name. It'll be the I don't want to say any billionaires' names because they can go fuck themselves. But like that style of the idea of slowly we realize kind of what the world is. And I'm perfectly happy to put them on space stations if it like kind of feels real. And then we kind of see what's going on. But like, I also know that that'll make it so much harder to film, but it's ideal remake, so why not?
Yeah, it's ideal remake.
Yeah,
we have whatever budget we would desire.
And you get to have this fun thing. Okay, I'll give you a visual for that.
Okay.
It's these stations and they move around, they're kind of in orbit with each other. And then whenever two of them meet, they lock in, and the thing that joins them
is the
rollerball
arena.
Track.
Yeah. I also have a visual of like the Mario Kart Rainbow Road, like connecting these guys, and maybe everyone roller skates, or that's how you get around, very like Fifth Element.
I love it. I think that'd be very funny.
Oh, wait, is Fifth Element-y?
But I also like it because this introduces a element of, we're familiar with our half of the track, but we don't know what's going to be on the other half of the track until it locks in.
Yes.
And so that's kind of where the rule changes start to happen of like, it locks in, they're like, that's what they did? How is that legal? Well, the corporation stations are responsible for the creation and maintenance of their own tracks. And if this is how they're able to keep it, blah, 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 blah. I think that's pretty good.
Yes, Fifth Element. Anyway.
Fifth Element. But yeah, great. And so we have things lock in and move and do stuff that way. What else were you thinking?
So I think our Jonathan character, and I'll be honest, I didn't do like a ton of casting for this.
You don't have to do that.
Because I also feel like gender-wise, I feel pretty neutral about like all of the characters. Like, I don't care if we gender swap anyone or not necessarily. I wouldn't.
We'll see what happens when we get to that.
We'll see what happens when we get to that. But I don't feel like either of our films made our Jonathan guy messy enough. Like, I need to feel like he is a millionaire. Like, I do need to feel like he is richer than all of these other people and more important than all of these other people. And especially like thinking about modern day athletes, the way that they live, the salaries that they have. Like, I need him. I would like him. I don't need him to be a street racer that like gets pulled into a car by LL Cool J. Like, I want him to be an existing player who is maybe like aging out of the game a little bit. Like, maybe he is starting to get washed a little bit. But yeah, I want to see like his stupid mansion. I want to see his like 6 to 12 wives / partners. Like, yeah, that aspect of it.
Yeah, I do want to see what passes for projecting an air of success and wealth that makes Jonathan aspirational. Because I do think Jonathan needs to be aspirational for the lower classes and not for the upper classes. I do like the idea of like needing to see that aspect of it. I also think that we can even introduce the like, well, people because like they also talked about like recruits or captures or something in the 1975 version where it's like it kind of felt a little bit Running Man, where
which I have not seen.
Criminals get captured and they're made to be playing the Running Man games, but if they make it to the end, they get their freedom.
Yes.
So as opposed to like jailing, they do the Running Man, and no one's ever, or no, that's not true. They've had victors, and the whole twist of the Running Man is like the people who succeeded and made it to paradise by like winning the Running Man competition actually get killed and aren't allowed to go off and do paradise or whatever. But so our version could be like, you play rollerball. If you play rollerball for 10 years, you retire and you're good for life. And Jonathan is about to be at 10 years, and so they're telling him he has to retire. And he's like, there is no retirement for me, because as soon as I retire, everyone on the team who's been leaning on me and needing my support is going to get killed in this horrifically brutal game.
Yes.
It'll
I also think we could play with that a little bit in the like, and this is all I've ever known. Like if you start playing when you're 21 and now you're 31
I would
and you're
like
being
to
forced to retire.
I would love to lean on This Is All I've Ever Known.
Yeah.
Here's my pitch. I really want to focus on on that one line that we focused on when we were watching the movie of these people at a party leaning to each other and going, man, they're so good at rollerball. It's like they're robots or something.
You want to Stepford wife this shit?
I want to make it even worse than that. So what I want to do is I want to say, so basically this is a horrible dystopian future where corporations have won. In our current present, one of the things that corporations keep trying to do is they basically keep trying to disenfranchise and let poor people die. They don't want to do anything for poor people. They just want to have all the money themselves. And I want to suggest a world where that happened. So all of the lower poor middle classes are gone because they've been forced out and starved by the upper classes. However, capitalism still needs consumers. And so because these 1% billionaires who are the only ones left still needed customers, still needed people to keep society going, they started manufacturing them. And so what we're going to slowly realize is that all of the people who are kind of left aren't real. We have a society entirely made up of NPCs. And the character of Jonathan is one of those NPCs who's starting to see like the codes of the Matrix. Is starting to kind of like wake up and is like gotten to a point where he has been around for so long that he has learned so much, because the rollerball are made to be smart and reactive and responsive, but they're not supposed to last very long because they're supposed to die. But he hasn't, so he has learned and knows too much. So they're trying to either get him to retire so he can be washed up, or die in the arena because he's amassed too much knowledge. And like, it's starting to become a threat to the actual society of like, if he's able to start communicating this knowledge and starts realizing what the world actually is, he might try to break it. And the rich people in charge who control and own everything can't have that.
Who are people.
They're the last people. And they destroyed the world. There is no world left. We just have satellites. They destroyed everything. But if they destroyed everything and they have everything, it's worth nothing. Well, it can't be worth nothing. So we have to make people who believe they have something, so that way what we have isn't worth nothing. It's like that kind of thing. So it's slowly starting to realize that the sort of rich people who sit in a room and think they're themselves smart because all they do is talk to AI chatbots who tell them how great they are all day, that's what they've built society to be. And Jonathan is one of those chatbots who's been around for too long and now, unfortunately, is getting too big for its britches and needs to be shut down. Because if he's not, he's going to realize that everything in this entire world is basically just a front to the emptiness and destruction and dystopia that has been left when actual corporations and rich people are allowed to do the things they want to do.
Very Westworldian.
It's as dark as I think the original movie wanted to go, whatever the next step is.
I would agree with that. That feels in line, especially with the amount of AI that they like hint at in the 1975 version without having you know, the internet yet and computers to be what they are. I don't hate that idea. I find that interesting. It is not the direction that I was thinking.
It's a crazy thought that I had. And so I'm trying to like plug it into the ideas that you did have. Because like the world's destroyed. They needed to build their own. Well, if we're going to build our own world, if let's say we go to Mars, we can't be on Mars alone. Who will tell me I'm great if I'm on Mars alone? Yeah, I think in the world that I'm kind of imagining, maybe there's still brains functioning. Hold on. Dial up. I think I would like to do it more like the lower classes have been left on Earth. The upper classes are all existing on these like space stations now. And the only thing that these people are what the space station is under the impression of is that the people on Earth all love them and want to watch this rollerball thing. And it's the only thing that they are willing to give the like Earthlings, so to speak, is this like
is this media, and Jonathan's character is like, well, I gotta keep doing this for the fans. It's the only thing they have. It's all they can give them. And then at some point realizes like, at some point perhaps realizes like, oh, they don't care that much.
Yeah. Okay, great. I love that. Like, if whatever dregs of humanity are left on the planet, the hollowed out, destroyed, polluted, overheated, climate changed planet.
Yes.
And the satellites are full of the rich people who like have a heightened and enhanced life.
Yes, and God forbid we give them food or clean energy or any way to deal with the planet actually being how it is. However, you guys can watch this really stupid sport and will be under the impression that will keep you from ever uprising.
Well, like we've given them rollerball.
Yes,
they don't need their resources.
No.
Those can be ours as a thank you for this incredible rollerball that we're giving them. Do we want to workshop that name? No. If it was good enough in 1975, and then 23 years later in 2002, and then 24 years after that in 2026, I think rollerball's pretty good. And you're not smarter than us, person who's not me.
I just think it's a fun, silly little name.
It is a fun, silly little name.
I had not considered renaming the sport. What should we rename the sport?
Oh, no, I don't think we should rename the sport. I think it's exactly the first thought that people would have.
Yeah. I do think, so kind of an aside, but when the 1975 one came out, people saw it, saw the sport, and went, that looks fun as fuck, I want to play that. Basically missing the entire point of what the 1975 film was trying to get at. And I guess people tried to, like, ask the director and writer for the rights to then play and make this game. To which he was like, no, which is the modern day equivalent of is like Mr. Beast watching Squid Game and saying, oh, that looks fun.
Yeah.
Let me do that.
I would love to be in control of that.
Yeah. I don't know how that exact aspect would fit into our remake, but I do think that is really interesting.
It is really interesting.
Viciously dystopian.
The way I would do that is I would have a bunch of rollerball tournaments leading up to the movie. Like doing a bunch of exhibitions and showings and a bunch of rollerball games leading up to the movie. And then when people finally like, yeah, this game's so great, it's so fun. And then they see the movie and they're like, what is it? Represents who? It's for who now? What?
And I'm sorry, this guy actually just got his head entirely severed off because there's swords in this movie, but not in real life. I do think it needs to be, I think the game needs to be more violent.
I think it does too. I think the purpose of the game is brutal entertainment.
Like, it needs to be full Gladiator.
It needs to be full Gladiator, full Hunger Games.
We've gone, the snake has eaten its tail.
We've done the whole Ouroboros, and these aren't even, like, we want them to appear and look like real people, but they're not. And so, like, their lives don't even matter.
Yeah.
So, that sort of thing. Like, they're a counter argument to what my pitch was is that if the deaths mean a lot more when they're real people, but I like the idea of taking it to the next step of like, none of you are real people. None of you matter. You only exist to glorify us.
Yeah. Which is, I think, where I wanted to come at with it is like, sink it a little bit. Sorry to like fully do the other side of the coin from your pitch, but like sink it fully into the humanity of how... What it takes to, like, be the guy sitting on the throne being like, and all of these underlings that I have all the way down to these people on the planet, I don't give a fuck about any of you.
They only exist to glorify me, and as soon as they don't for even a second, I will throw them into the thresher because they're dead to me.
Yes.
But I do like the parallel of we have Elon Musk sitting in a chat room with a bunch of people telling him he's brilliant, and he believes them, despite the fact that he programmed them to tell them that he's brilliant.
Also very funny.
And so, like, I kind of want that to be, like, that en masse of, like, what an absolutely pathetic future these people are planning. Let's look and see how truly horrendous it is.
Yeah.
We rollerball.
Yeah. So, we talked about earlier, like, this thing was clearly, like, very influenced by wrestling. And when I think about, like, what modern day it looks like to have a corporation, like, really own a player, like... Within, we've already talked about FIFA a little bit, but like the way that like people talk about FIFA contracts. Like, they literally talk about buying and selling players in a way that makes my skin crawl so fucking hard.
Absolutely.
And obviously, like, I would want to include more of that. Like, that's hinted at in the 2002 one, but like, I would like it to be more prevalent, like maybe within when Aurora's character gets potentially like sold to this other team. I would like to include that. Another thing,
would you like a really brutal way to look at that?
Sure.
Here's a really brutal way to look at that. Hey, if you're a big fan of Jonathan E., you can have your own. We'll sell you someone who's just basically exactly like Jonathan E. Have a Jonathan E. in your own home to do exactly what you want with them.
You can 3D print him.
You can 3D print your own Jonathan E. He doesn't know that until he like runs into one. But the real mark, just like any artist, is not owning a print. It's owning the original.
Mm-hmm.
And so someone decided that they wanted to own the original Ella. And so they paid the top dollar, and it's like, oh, I mean, if you're willing to pay that, sure, I don't care. Take her. And like for the lesser billionaires, owning a print, owning a copy, that's cool because you get to play around and like you get to have a toy for a little bit. But the true collectors appreciate the need and the desire for the original.
Yes. Gross.
So gross.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yes. Within that, I guess kind of like tangential to that, but related. Another thing that like, so I love wrestling, as you know. I watch a lot of wrestling. I love wrestling. And a thing that makes me feel insane is that they are also incredibly owned by the companies that they work
100%.
for. Like, disgustingly so. Like, to the extent that like they can't get tattoos, they can't cut their hair, they can't do anything without like having it approved by these corporations, because God forbid you cut your hair and we've planned a toy release or whatever of like what you're supposed to look like. They don't have health insurance.
That's crazy.
They pay for their own health insurance to the extent that like, you know, the WWE wrestlers, the AEW wrestlers, like they are on big enough contracts that they like can afford to like do their own health insurance, but like slightly lower tier wrestlers. So like potentially our guy that was like, you make so much more than me, Jonathan, would have to run a GoFundMe if he got his leg broken because he does not get the salary to pay for his own.
That's how we find out how popular they are, because they have to pay for their own injuries, so they have to go to the fans.
Yes.
If the fans love you enough, they'll pay for you to get fixed.
Yes, and you have to make the fans love you enough if you want to keep living.
Yeah, and if they don't love you, you won't be able to afford the treatment and you will die.
Yeah.
Brutal. Love it.
Yeah.
Hate it.
Hate it.
Love it.
But like, and oh God, it is like, it's one of the things about wrestling that like also makes me like super upset. Like I have contributed to wrestlers GoFundMes who have like gotten neck injuries, leg injuries. And again, these are people that are like not quite at the like WWE level, but there's no reason also like that a WWE wrestler wouldn't necessarily run a GoFundMe. Like there's no reason to not.
And there's no reason why any of these people should have to should suffer, and hey, there should be healthcare for everybody. But the important thing is that the people who are loved the most will get the best care.
Yes.
And that's fucking brutally. That's fucked up.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that crazy? All right, we're definitely using that.
Okay, and I have one more note.
Please.
That is so okay. So I told Sam before we watched this film to please not Google anything about the 2002 film so that I could tell Sam some shit on this podcast.
And I didn't.
So this is so wild. So, like I said earlier, the 2002 movie, I think it must have been greenlit like in 1998. It sat in limbo for a long time. It had a lot of hands from the executives involved in it, ironically, to recut and remake this thing. And at some point during this production, John McTierney went crazy and started being really, really paranoid about this film, to the tune of he hired a guy who was a mobster to wiretap the executive producer because he thought the executive producer was selling his ideas to other people in Hollywood, and was also thought he was talking shit about Rollerball and was gonna like doom his movie.
That's crazy.
The FBI got involved. John McTierney went to jail for I think 3 years over this movie, over 2002 Rollerball.
Wait, I feel like I've heard this before. What other movies has Jonathan McTierney done? Because I feel like I've covered.
Google. I want to say Die Hard, but it's either Die Hard or Born Ultimatum. Like he's done some like good films. Yeah, Die Hard, the original Predator movie, Hunt for Red October, the 1991 Robin Hood. Like, he made some, like, really good films.
That's crazy. And, like, there's this extra aspect of... So that's something that, like, pings, like, I feel like I've heard that before, but it might not have been in the context of this podcast. But yeah, that's, for lack of a better phrase, batshit.
Also, sorry, he didn't do 3 years. He did 10 months.
Nonetheless.
Yeah, but he pled guilty to illegal wiretapping.
As he should have.
And I think that's hilarious.
It's so funny.
And I do feel like in a world where we're remaking Rollerball, that is like a thing that I would love to hint at somewhere in that. Is
we
like
have to.
Our guy who's talking to all these fucking chat bots like starts to get paranoid and is like, is everyone else who's not my beautiful little chat bots like talking shit about me or some shit?
I mean, we'll do that.
Yeah.
That's what Daphne is.
Yeah.
And so, you're not saying wonderful things about me at all times? I'm going to send one of my wired in units to take care of you now. And so that way, anything you say to him is available to us. So I'll know exactly what you say and about how much you love me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I need to know the exact quantity of love you have for me. Love it. In terms of plot, like, basically we've kind of covered it. We've kind of covered, like, what we want to do. The games of Rollerball, I think, are going to be crazy, and we get to I like the idea of, like, the two half courts meeting up for the actual game. It's great. We're doing the projection. We're doing the games. We should have more than the 3 games. Like, let's have as many as possible.
They're good for building plot. You can, like, force tension between players that way. That's
Absolutely.
how we show injuries. That's how we show the way that the world works. Like,
it's how we take out Moon Pie, the whole thing.
It is how we take out Moon Pie, LL Cool J. LL
Cool
Pie.
LL Cool, Pie Cool J.
Pie Cool J.
Is there anything else we need to talk to in terms of, like, the meat and, like, the plot of the movie?
I feel like we have covered it. I mean, I think that I would still like it to end with the executive and his little friend getting got.
I would like to end with the executive and his little friend getting got, but then I would like to show a bunch of screens of all the other executives and how little that matters.
Yeah. Which we do kind of get in the 75 one.
We get in the 75 one. We do not get in the 2002
we do
version.
Not. The 75 one, I do want to just say, for the listeners at home, it's so funny. There's this scene where...
Both of them are available on Tubi.
They are. You're welcome for the plug. But Bartholomew is, like, on what 1975 predicted Zoom Skype would be.
Oh, that's true.
Where they filmed, there's like 6 TVs over this like one very large TV. A very funny thing in the 1975 version, there's always like, there's never just one screen. There's like 3 tiny screens above one big screen or 6 or whatever. And so they have, I just love to think about the way that they filmed this. Like they had actors just like pretend to be in a business meeting exactly like how we see Zoom meetings now, like just occasionally nodding and stuff. And I'm like, man, you guys are playing that through a VHS or whatever, like through this TV. So weird. It's so funny to think about.
It's also like they're not giving enough because no one in that movie gives any emotion. For the love of God, learn how to feel. Yeah. But also, like, that entire movie, they're popping drugs the whole time.
Yes, they
which
are.
We didn't talk about at all.
Which...
It's not plot relevant, it's just world building, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's never relevant for any reason.
I feel like if we were gonna include, like, steroids as a thing in this, like, we could. It doesn't feel... If we're having AI potentially enhance these individuals,
I don't think
then
we
it's
need
not...
It. No.
Yeah.
I don't think we need it. It's definitely something from the 1975 version, and I think it's hinted at in the 2002 version, but it never means anything. No. It's just, when you live a life of excess, of course you're going to be drugged up the whole time. Meanwhile, I'm thinking, if you live a life of excess, why are you missing any of it?
Yeah, that's a good point. I do feel like...
But I think it was more representative of the fact that Marnie was taking a bunch of drugs because she was the one who was unhappy. And, like, the people who are ostensibly happy aren't taking the drugs because they're like, oh, yeah, no, I'm fine. Yeah. Except that that's not what happened because the only one who refused drugs at their little dinner party was Marnie. Not Marnie. Mackie.
Okay, can we also briefly touch on, in that insane party scene in the 1975 version, that, like, everyone gets drunk and decides that they're gonna go shoot a gun.
Yeah. And they shoot laser guns at these trees, and they burn these trees to the ground.
Like, these, like, gotta be, like, what?
Hundreds of years old.
Yeah, like 2-story, 3-story tall trees. They shoot what looks like a handgun at the tree and the entire tree goes up in flame. And I think that if they were, I don't even know if they had gotten to this like idea of pushing that technology was going to wind up in like just deforestation and like energy, and but the all of these drunk partygoers like watching this tree go up in flames and just like being enamored by it and laughing at it, I thought was a fun,
very evocative and
metaphor.
And it's like, and it's a laser gun, because there's a moment where someone like fires it kind of recklessly and it just like carves up the ground with laser. And it's like a laser gun. It's like, yeah, we don't care about anything or anyone.
I was waiting for someone to die.
I was waiting for them to shoot a person, and they never did.
Yeah.
And I feel like, certainly in my version where like the lives don't matter and it's just like dance for me, my little precious angels, where it's like, yeah, great, shoot that one. I don't care about that one.
Yeah.
I feel like that is something that should happen, because none of them matter. None of them are real. Certainly not as real as our precious overlords, the realest they could possibly ever be. Great. Yes. Good. I'm glad you brought that up.
It's just so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous.
And that could be like much earlier in, like, maybe that's how we start to reveal how little anyone matters in this world, is like,
I think it happening in Act 2 is reasonable, because like we're gonna come in with the expectation that people and lives matter, and we're slowly gonna learn that it doesn't. I feel like that's an end of Act 1, beginning of Act 2 kind of thing. Because what happens at the party is Jonathan is talking to Bartholomew, and Bartholomew's like, we really do need you to retire. And Jonathan's like, but why though? I don't wanna. And that's like the plot thing that's happening. And then the temple run that's happening at the same time while the conversation is happening is them shooting a laser and burning trees to the ground.
yeah, it's a great back and forth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk about casting.
Okay.
Obviously, we have to start with our Jonathan.
We do have to start with our Jonathan.
Who'd you have?
Not a ton of people. I think that it would be potentially fun to have a wrestler who is like on potentially that you're smiling. Did you also have a wrestler?
I did for my moon pie.
Hell yeah. I think Kenny Omega could do it and it would be fun. I think Bryan Danielson could do it and it would be fun. Both of those guys are in their mid 40s, I think, right now. Kenny might be a little bit younger, but they're both in the stages of their career where they're starting to work more on the executive side. There's also Jon Moxley, who will never quit wrestling until he dies in the ring, probably, and he's scary, and I think in some way should be involved. If he's Jonathan, the movie's a very different tone.
It is. I do think our Jonathan needs to be like an actor, because I think it's going to be fascinating that Jonathan is the one who's the best and survived through all this, despite the fact that he's surrounded by monsters.
That's fair. The one actor who I think would be good in it is Austin Butler, but I think he's young.
He is. I cast someone who's also sort of young, but like he's like mid to late 20s. And that's Sholomar Dueña.
I don't know who that is.
He played Blue Beetle.
Which I have not seen.
He's in Blue Beetle. He was in Cobra Kai. Like he's a charming young man who also can fight. And that's kind of what we need for this sort of thing, where it's like, oh, charming young guy, in good shape, could absolutely kick the shit out of someone. And so that's why I kind of thought he would be a fun choice for this. I think he was also a Power Ranger. I don't really remember.
Yeah, he's also 25.
Ah, okay. Well, let's say he's been doing this since he was 15.
Yeah, that's fine. I felt bad, like, when I was trying to think of, like, who would be a fun Jonathan, I was like, man, who of that age, of, like, the, like, you know, early 40s is a good enough, or is an actor that I like enough to, like, who I feel like could do this. And I was having a really hard time thinking of people.
Yeah, because I was having a hard time too, because it's like, when do you want... So this is the guy's been doing this for 10 years, which is too long. When do they start? Because if they're 25 already, what were they leaving behind? If they're 30, they may have had a whole family and a whole thing already. But if they were like 15 when they started, because like they've lowered the age on American Ninja Warrior, that now 15-year-olds are running the courses. And it's like... Yeah, that's when someone's like believes themselves and thinks they're never going to die, and theoretically have their like weird monkey body shape of like, I can just the nonstop stamina. So like 15, I feel like start, and then you keep going for 10 years. That kind of works for me.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's fair.
My moon pie is Rhea Ripley.
Great.
Who is a lady wrestler, and I specifically texted our friend Cam and was like, hey, remind me, who's that lady wrestler that all the women are in love with? Rhea Ripley. Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
And so like, because the moon pie in the 1975 version is disgusting and we hate him, I want to replace with someone cool who's also like just a bruiser, and Rhea Ripley is, And so that way, like, when Rhea Ripley gets taken out, you're like, oh shit. But also just like a fun dynamic that she has with like the smaller Sholo Maradwina and the fact that she looks up to him. And I just think that's fun and adorable. But yeah, that's who I had for Moon Pie.
Cool. I didn't have anyone for Moon Pie. I had been a little bit stuck on the like LL Cool J of it all and being like, like, how do we get Chance the Rapper to do this? Like, how do we get someone who has a rap career to like come be in this very silly movie?
The LL Cool J like Cletus person who's like the friend / trainer / was there first kind of guy. I went with John Boyega.
Also a good choice.
He's available. Someone who understands what it's like to be thrown out by Hollywood for no reason, despite the fact that he's a perfectly serviceable actor. He's great. He does amazing. He's supposed to be a nice enough guy. But they just decided that they were done with him for no reason.
I guess that's true. I guess I haven't seen him in anything in a minute.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's great. He should be in more things.
Really great. Why?
Who did you have for LL Cool J / Cletus?
I like truly didn't. I had been thinking of rappers that I was like, how do we get Snoop Dogg? Something like incredibly stupid.
Funny. Well, then, did you have someone from Bartholomew?
Yeah, Alan Cummings.
Oh, perfect.
I think Alan Cummings would do a great job being addicted to chatbots, but also I think Harrison Ford would be fun.
I think Harrison Ford would be good. I don't think he would get the joke. I think Alan Cummings would get the joke, and I think he does exactly what I wanted. So I went with John Lithgow, someone who is the dad from Third Rock from the Sun. He was also in Frasier, and he was
yes.
I'm blanking on the name of the villain from the original Shrek.
Farquaad.
Yeah, he's Lord Farquaad. And he's like he loves doing sci-fi stuff. He's a big old nerd, so he would get it. But I like the idea of it being Alan Cummings because fundamentally I want someone who is charming and we like when we first meet him, but the more time we spend with him, the more we realize he's a real piece of shit. Because one of the things that the 2002 version did better is that, like, we're kind of on this guy's side of, like, yeah, hey, we're partying. He's creating this whole league. Oh, this guy's so fun. As opposed to Bartholomew, who's an obnoxious, old, rich, white guy from Jump, and we do not like him.
Yeah.
I want us to start loving Alan Cummings, and the more time we spend with him, we don't like him as much.
Yeah, Floop.
Exactly.
Revived.
Floop, Josie and the Pussycats, all of the things. Traitors, that whole thing.
Traitors.
Yeah, I think Alan Cummings is the perfect choice. I only had 3 other casting roles. I had Ella, Mackie, and Daphne.
Yeah, I was wondering. I wasn't sure if are we giving him a love interest.
So because this was before I saw the 2002 version, I still liked the idea of him having someone that he really loved and wanted to be with, who ended up going someplace else and doing something else. I didn't necessarily want, and so I kind of liked the idea of all of the women and people in his life are kind of like these models, statuesque, and so I cast someone very pretty to be Ella, but isn't like the whatever, name a supermodel.
Giselle.
But I cast very pretty people, explicitly very pretty people, to be both Mackie and Daphne. Of like, replaced with this pretty person, replaced with this pretty person. So Ella and Mackie, I kept ladies. Daphne, I gender swapped because why not?
Why not?
Who cares? It's the future.
What's a gender?
What's a gender? So for Ella, I went with Kelly Marie Tran.
Okay.
Of like this person he fell in love with, this genuine, as far as we know, human person that he genuinely had this connection with, who then got sold to the highest bidder because what are we if not slaves to the ruling class? And then when she comes back, it's like, oh, Kelly Marie Tran, that's amazing. I'm so glad you're back. What do you mean you're telling me to retire? And it's just like this ultimate sense of betrayal. My Mackie, I went with Caitlin Dever. She's the other lead in Booksmart.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Very pretty, but not like whatever. And just like you can kind of see her being deeply unhappy and miserable in this relationship.
Totally.
And then the spy who's there to be of like, no, we love each other. We're having an amazing time. Obviously, I'm super hot and you're into this. Is an actor named Miles Heisner. He was a kid in Love, Simon. Apparently, he's most recently been in Nerve and a movie called The People We Meet on Vacation.
Miles Seimer?
Heisner.
Oh, wow. A very baby-faced individual.
Yeah, someone that Alan Cummings would love to send to... I cast young people for all... Kelly Marie Tran's a little bit older, but like I cast the other two being younger on purpose. Because, gender dynamics and power dynamics are fucked.
Yeah. My casting is like a little bit older, just
That's
because
fine.
that's where my brain had been with it.
Please tell me.
I had Ella as Jamila Jamil.
Great.
I just think she's beautiful.
She is beautiful.
Yeah, I had like my potential Aurora character, Rebecca Romaine. If we're doing the 2002-ish one, the female roller player as being Natalie Dormer.
Okay. Where has Natalie Dormer gone?
I
need more
don't
Natalie
know.
Dormer.
And I'm like, oh god, did you do something to get canceled?
I don't think so.
But yeah, she's another kind of John Boyega as far as I know.
I think Natalie Dormer's a good choice.
She's so pretty. And those were like my two women that I had been thinking about.
I would love, let's replace my Mackie with either Jamila Jamil or Natalie Dormer. Who do you think should be our Mackie of the two of those?
Probably Jamila.
Okay.
Because like the thing about Natalie is I could also buy her being on a roller derby team, and Jamila, I don't know if I can fully buy being on a roller derby team.
Done. That's it for casting. Do you have a writer and director, or do you have a hyphenate?
I have more director than writers. I think the Wachowski sisters would do an interesting version of this.
Interesting.
They, did Bound and the Matrix films, and I think their voice would be interesting in this.
I think they would certainly have a lot to say about corporatocracy and corporate overlords. That's definitely true.
I also think George Miller would make an interesting version of this because his breath is of Mad Max to Happy Feet.
Yeah.
Like he's worked with so many different genres and in so many weird.
I think he'd be an amazing director of the Rollerball segments, but I don't think he'd be as good once they're off the court.
Yeah, admittedly, a lot of the directors that I was looking up were people that have done action in a way that I was like, I fuck with it. The other person that I had is Catherine Yan, who did the most recent Birds of Prey movie.
Yeah.
Which I really liked and no one else did.
I liked it. I thought it was great.
I thought it was really fun.
So my writer is a writer named Macon Blair. They wrote Toxic Avengers, or the new Toxic Avenger. They wrote a movie called Brothers, and they wrote a movie called Idiots. And I thought that seemed funny. It's an adaptation of other things, and they felt like the right kind of writing vibe.
Yeah, no, yes. He wrote Green Room, which is one of my favorite movies.
Great.
And is one of the most tense movies I've ever seen.
So like that. So take that and combine it with the fact that they did the new version of Toxic Avenger. There you go.
Yeah.
My director, I went with Angel Manuel Soto, who also directed Blue Beetle, is the director on this new movie called Wrecking Crew, which is Dave Bautista and I want to say Jason Statham, but it's not Jason Statham. I don't remember who the other person in it is, but it's like it's another fun movie. And then he's the cinematographer on something called You Cannot Kill David Arquette, which I just thought was a fun thing to learn existed.
I have seen that one.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's extremely funny for me.
Let me double check to make sure that it is the thing that I'm thinking of, but I believe that is the documentary about him being a wrestler.
That is correct.
Yeah, I have seen that is the one thing I've seen from this person.
He didn't direct it. He was the cinematographer on it. So he's like a newer director. Well, despite the fact that he did Blue Beetle.
I mean, yeah, that's a big pull.
Yeah, but I'm more than happy to go with whichever director you think will pair best with Macon Blair.
Probably the Wachowski sisters.
Great. How often do the Wachowskis direct something that someone else wrote?
I'm not sure. Let's do a Google.
I think the answer is usually not, but because this is Ideal Remake, they will for this.
Yeah, they do. It does seem like they mostly write their stuff. Write, direct, produce.
But that's okay. The Wachowski sisters can direct this. I think it's going to be incredible. So, let me take you through our Rollerball casting.
Let's go.
Jonathan E. is going to be Sholo Maraduena. Moon Pie is going to be Rhea Ripley. Bartholomew will be Alan Cummings. Cletus / LL Cool J, whatever his character's name was, will be John Boyega. Ella will be Kelly Marie Tran. Mackie will be Jamila Jamil. Daphne will be Miles Heisner. One of our other derbyers, rollerballers, will be Natalie Dormer. All of this will be written by Macon Blair and then directed by the Wachowski sisters. That's Rollerball.
That's Rollerball.
You gonna force me to watch this when it comes out?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. All right, Lee.
Also, it does seem the Wachowski sisters have directed some stuff they didn't write. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I think they're a great choice. I think that's excellent. Lee, thank you very much for joining me for Ideal Remake.
Yes, I'm so glad we finally did this. This was fun.
Yeah, thank you again, especially today with everything else that's happening today. I really appreciate you being here.
No problem. I'm glad I can distract you from your apartment.
From my apartment
caving in.
literally being torn apart right now. Yeah, so people can find out more about the things you're working on. Tell us about your social medias, your books, everything.
Yes, you can find my book, Clementine Fox and the Great Island Adventure, at basically wherever books are sold, which is a crazy cool thing to say. It's in most Barnes and Nobles. I have worked on a bunch of different animated shows, most recently The Mighty Nine for Critical Role, which is streaming on Amazon. Blah.
Their satellite's going to be the best one.
Their satellite probably is they are probably going to have a really good team.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I mean, they have Blue Origin, right? So they have to, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I can be found mostly on Instagram at Lee Luna Comics, and that's kind of the one.
Will you please spell that?
LEIGHLUNACOMICS.
Perfect.
And I'm on BlueSky occasionally, but mostly I am not on social media that much right now.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Everyone should read Clementine Fox and the Great Island Adventure. It's absolutely delightful and wonderful, and even if you don't have kids, it's great. If you're interested in finding me, I'm on Instagram at Ideal Remake, spelled like the podcast, or I'm on also BlueSky occasionally at Sam Gasch, SAMGASCH. But for now, we will end this podcast the same way we always do. What is your favorite quote from either version of Rollerball?
I mean, I do love Sweet Dreams, Moon Pie. You'll dream you're an executive, wear a gray suit, and make decisions. I love that, but I also love in the 2002 one where I don't know what the exact quote is, but it's something to the effect of, it was never about Rollerball.